start out with a bitmoji. This is the one of my niece and her boyfriend she sent to me, so I'm going to work with that one. This is the app I downloaded. I'm going to import the photo. Okay. I'm going to go. There are all these options at the bottom. The one I chose was ink, and it kind of changes it to that SVG form. I changed the threshold a little bit. You can kind of mess with it and see what it does. Once I get it where I like it, I save it. And then I send it to myself so I can open it on my Cameo, my Silhouette Cameo. Okay, I am in my Silhouette Studio. I'm going to go ahead and open a picture I sent myself. I think I saved it to the desktop. Okay, and most of you know how to trace if you have a Silhouette or a Cricut. But if you don't, this is the tracing window that I want to use. Select my trace area. I go over picture. Okay, then I turn off the high pass filter, and that gets all of the stuff that I want it to get. Sometimes I mess with the threshold a little bit. And then when you're ready, click trace. And here we have our traced image. I like to fill it in so I can see what it looks like. And the lines always turn black as well. So I know this looks crazy with all of the stuff around it, so I'm going to go erase that real quick, and then I will show you how to cut and make it into a silkscreen stencil. Okay, so I finished erasing all the stuff around the edges. I created a 6x6 box. I don't know if you can see it, but that is just to outline my stencil. Okay. And I know that's huge right now, but I'm going to show you. I use my mat to kind of measure. This is the cookie that I'm going to put it on, so I just kind of like to place it behind there and see how big I can make it. I don't want to make it really much bigger than 2 inches by 2 inches. I know that seems small, but it should work out fine. So I'm going to take my boxes, 2 inches by 2 inches. I'm going to place it pretty centered in the square. And there's a whole bunch of tiny little details on there, so when you weed it, it's kind of hard to get every one, but it really does work out fine even if you don't get all the tiny little details. So I'm going to cut this on, this is heat transfer vinyl. This is just a color that I don't use very often, so I'm going to cut it on there. And you do not have to flip your image because the silkscreen will go on top, and I will show you that as soon as I get it cut and weeded. I just wanted to show you what it looks like when it cuts, because it's all such this tiny detail. A lot of it looks like it's coming up, but let me weed it and show you what it looks like. This is what it turned out like weeded. You can see that it lost some of the detail in his hair, but that's not a big deal. It'll be fine once we heat press it. This is my heat press. It's on 284 degrees, set for 10 seconds. So I'm going to put this down. A few little crazy pieces. Here is my silk screen. I just cut it to fit about on top. So I'm going to place that there. Put my mat on top. Make sure it's still on there. 10 seconds. peel it. Sorry, it's hard to do this one-handed. And there we have the stencil. And I'll trim around the edges and I'll show you how I put it on the cookie. Okay, I trimmed around the edges. This is my stencil thing. I think it's a Sugar Bell one, not real sure. I'm gonna place the stencil in there. It's magnetic, which is awesome. Here's my cookie. Can't really see if it's centered or not. Hopefully. I'm telling you, I'm not a professional, that's for sure. I made some black icing, royal icing, and I put corn syrup in mine as well so it doesn't dry as hard. This is what I use, and don't judge. It was literally for screen protectors on my phone. It's a little rubber thing, and it's what I have. So we'll make it work. So I'm just going to spread it on there. Now remember, I am zero professional. This is like the third time I've done this, so it's not going to be perfect. So I scrape most of it off. I'm telling you, this scraper is not that great, so it's the only thing I have though. All right. And I'm going to lift it up. And there you have it. Bitmoji silk screen stencil.